Friends and viewers, good day. As William Shakespeare had written a very immortal play, the name of which is Julius Caesar. This is a drama written about the life of the great Roman general Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar is a person who had changed the Rome from republic to empire. So this is a drama which I'm going to discuss with you. The name of the same is Julius Caesar. The person involved in this drama, Julius Caesar himself, Octavius Caesar, Marcus Antonius, Lepidus. These are the triumvirs after the death of Julius Caesar. Cicero, Publius, Lina, senators, Marcus, Brutus, Cassius, Casca, and Ligurius, Metellus, Cimber, Cinna. They are the conspirators against Julius Caesar. There are many other characters also. So the story of this is one of the play of William Shakespeare, Julius Caesar. So let us discuss the story of this. The story of this play starts like two tribunes, Flavius and Maurelius, find scores of Roman citizens wandering the streets, neglecting their work in order to watch Julius Caesar's triumphant parade. Caesar has defeated the sons of deceased Roman general Pompey, his arch rival in battle. The tribunes scold the citizens for abandoning their duties and remove decorations from Caesar's statues. Caesar enters with his entourage, including the military and political figure like Brutus, Cassius, and Antony. Soothsayer calls out to Caesar to beware the ideas of march, but Caesar ignores the warning of soothsayers and proceed with his victory celebration. Cassius and Brutus, both long-time intimates of Caesar, and each other converse. Cassius tells Brutus that he has seemed distant lately. Brutus replied that he has been at war with himself. Cassius states that he wishes Brutus could see himself as others see for him. For then Brutus would realize how honored and respected he is. Brutus says that he fears that the people want Caesar to become king, which would overturn the republic. Cassius, concerned that Caesar is treated like a god, though he is merely a man, no better than Brutus or Cassius. Cassius recalls incidents of Caesar's physical weakness and marvels that this fallible man has become so powerful. He blames his and Brutus' lack of will for allowing Caesar's rise to power. Surely the rise of such a man cannot be the work of fate. Brutus considers Cassius' word as Caesar's return. Upon seeing Cassius, Caesar tells Antony that he deeply distrusts Cassius. Caesar departs and another politician, Casca, tells Brutus and Cassius that during the celebration, Antony offered the crown to Caesar 3 times and the people cheered, but Caesar refused it each time. He reports that Caesar then fell to the ground and had some kind of seizure before the crowd. His demonstration of weakness, however, did not alter the plebeians' devotion to him. Brutus goes home to consider Cassius' words regarding Caesar's poor qualification to rule. While Cassius hatches a plot to draw Brutus into a conspiracy against Caesar, that night Rome is plagued with violent weather and a variety of bad omens and portents. Brutus finds letter in his house apparently written by a Roman citizen worried that Caesar has become too powerful. The letters have in fact been forged and planted by Cassius. Who knows that if Brutus believes it is the people will, he will support a plot to remove Caesar from power. A committed supporter of the Republic, Brutus fears the possibility of dictator-led empire, worrying that populace would lose its voice. Cassius arrives at Brutus' home with his conspirator, and Brutus, who has already been won over by the letter, takes control of the meeting. The men agree to lure Caesar from his house and kill him. Cassius wants to kill Antony too, for Antony will surely try to hinder their plans. But Brutus disagrees, believing that too many deaths will render their plot too bloody and dishonor them. Having agreed to spare Antony, the conspirators depart. Portia, Brutus' wife, observes that Brutus appears preoccupied. She pleads him to confide in her, but he rebuffs her. Caesar prepared to go to the Senate. His wife, Calpurnia, begs him not to go, describing recent nightmares she has had in which a statue of Caesar streamed with blood, and smiling men bathed their hands in the blood. Caesar refused to yield to fear and insisted on going about his daily business. Finally, Calpurnia convinces him to stay home, if not out of caution, then as a favor to her. But Decius, one of the conspirators, then arrives and convinces Caesar that Calpurnia has misinterpreted her dream and the recent omens. Caesar departs from the Senate in the company of the conspirator. As Caesar proceeds through the street toward the Senate, a soothsayer again tries but fails to get his attention. The citizen Artemidorus hands him a letter warning him about the conspirator, but Caesar refused to read it, saying that his closet personal concerns are his last priority. At the Senate, the conspirators speak to Caesar, bowing at his feet and encircling him. One by one, they stab him to death. When Caesar sees his dear friend Brutus among his murderers, he gives up his struggle and dies, and he pronounced one of his famous phrase, "Die too, Brutus, you too, Brutus." This is the word written by William Shakespeare and also by Plutarch, the great Greek and Roman historian. The murderer bathed their hands and sword in Caesar's blood, thus bringing Calpurnia's premonition to fruition. Antony, having been led away on a false pretext, returned and pledges allegiance to Brutus, but weeps over Caesar's body. He shakes hands with the conspirators, thus making them all as guilty, while appearing to make a gesture of conciliation. When Antony asked why they killed Caesar, Brutus replied that he will explain their purpose in a funeral oration. Antony asked to be allowed to speak over the body as well. Brutus grants his permission. Those Cassius remains suspicious of Antony. The conspirator depart, and Antony alone now swears that Caesar's death shall be avenged. Brutus and Cassius go to the forum to speak to the public. Cassius exists to address another part of crowd. Brutus declared to the masses that though he loved Caesar, he loved Rome more, and Caesar's ambition posed a danger to Roman liberty. The speech placarded the crowd. Antony appears with Caesar's body, and Brutus depart after turning the pulpit over to Antony. Repeatedly referring to Brutus as an honorable man, Antony's speech becomes increasingly sarcastic, questioning the claim that Brutus made in his speech that Caesar acted only out of ambition. Antony points out that Caesar brought much wealth and glory to Rome, and 3 times turned down offers of the crown. Antony then produced Caesar's will, but announced that he will not read it, for it would upset the people inordinately. The crowd nevertheless begs him to read the will. So he descends from the pulpit to stand next to the Caesar's body, describes Caesar's horrible death, and shows Caesar's wounded body to the crowd. He then reads Caesar's will, which bequeaths a sum of money to every citizen and order that his private garden be made public. The crowd became enraged that this generous man lies dead, calling Brutus and Cassius traitors. The masses set off to drive them from the city. Meanwhile, Caesar's adopted son and appointed successor, Octavius, arrives in Rome and a form of 3-person coalition with Antony and Lepidus. They prepare to fight Caesar and Brutus, who have been driven into exile, and they are raising armies outside the city. At the conspirators came Brutus and Cassius have a heated argument regarding matters of money and honor, but they ultimately reconcile. Brutus revealed that he is sick with grief, for in his absence Portia has killed herself. The two continue to prepare for battle with Antony and Octavius. That night the ghost of Caesar appeared to Brutus, announcing that Brutus will meet him again on the battlefield. Octavius and Antony marched their army toward Brutus and Cassius. Antony tells Octavius where to attack, but Octavius says that he will make his own order. He is already asserting his authority as the heir of Caesar and the next ruler of Rome. The opposing general meet on the battlefield and exchange insult before beginning combat. Cassius witnesses 2 men fleeing and hears that Brutus' men are not performing effectively. Cassius sent one of his men, Pindarus, to see how matters are progressing. From afar, Pindarus sees one of their leaders, Cassius' best friend, Titanius, being surrounded by cheering troops and conclude that he has been captured. Cassius despairs and orders Pindarus to kill him with his own sword. He dies, proclaiming that Caesar is avenged. Titanius himself then arrives. The men encircling him were actually his comrades. Cheering a victory he had earned, Titanius sees Cassius' corpse and, mourning the death of his friend, kills himself. Brutus learns of the death of Cassius and Titanius with a heavy heart and prepares to take on the Roman again. Then his army loses. Doom appears imminent. Brutus asks one of his men to hold his sword while he impales himself on it. Finally, Caesar can rest satisfied. He says as he dies, Octavius and Antony arrive. Antony speaks over Brutus' body, calling him the noblest Roman of all, while the other conspirators acted out of envy and ambition. He observed Brutus genuinely believed that he acted for the benefit of Rome. Octavius ordered that Brutus be buried in the most honorable way. The men then depart to celebrate their victory. So this is the story of the play. So let us see that, as I told you in the beginning, those very notable character involved in this play. Brutus, a supporter of the Republic who believes strongly in the government guided by the voters of senator, while Brutus loves Caesar as a friend. He opposes the ascension of any single man to the position of dictator, and he fears that Caesar aspired to such power. So that's why Brutus' inflexible sense of honor make it easy for Caesar's enemies to manipulate him into believing that Caesar must die in order to preserve the republic. Another character is Julius Caesar himself, a great Roman general and senator recently returned to Rome in triumph after a successful military campaign, while his good friend Brutus worries that Caesar may aspire to dictatorship over the Roman Republic. Caesar seemed to show no such incline to crowd several times. Antony, the friend of Julius Caesar, Antony claims allegiance to Brutus and the conspirator after Caesar's death in order to save his own life. Later, however, when speaking at funeral oration over Caesar's body, he spectacularly persuade the audience to withdraw its support of Brutus and instead condemn him as a traitor. Cassius, the talented general and long-time acquaintance of Caesar, Cassius disliked the fact that Caesar became godlike in the eyes of the Roman. He slyly leads Brutus to believe that Caesar has become too powerful and must die. Portia, Brutus' wife, the daughter of noble Roman who took side against Caesar. So Calpurnia, Caesar's wife, Calpurnia invests great authority in omens and portents. She warns Caesar against going to the Senate on the ideas of march, since she had terrible nightmare and heard reports of